name's Brooke Jackson.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Gardner.
And today we're presenting narcolepsy. So today we're going to talk to you about what is narcolepsy, the causes, who's affected by it, the history, and the treatments. And we have a reference page at the end.
So what is narcolepsy? Narcolepsy is actually a chronic neurological disorder which can be characterized by premature onset of rapid movement while you're sleeping, which is also known as REM sleep, cataplexy, and also excessive daytime sleepiness.
Okay, and this is a picture of the brain. And so the part of the brain affected by narcolepsy is the hypothalamus, which is located right here on the little yellow part. Okay, and this is what the part of the brain that patients with narcolepsy is affected by.
So cataplexy is a sudden and transient episode of muscle weakness, which is accompanied by full consciousness awakeness, and it's typically triggered by excess emotions such as laughing, crying, being scared, or even terror. So excess of these emotions can cause this muscle weakness, which is cataplexy.
And the muscle weakness causes patients to fall and faint, which is why we put a picture of someone fainting.
So rapid eye movement is also known as REM. It's kind of a sleep state that occurs during intervals throughout the night, and it's characterized by rapid eye movements, excessive dreaming than the average person, and excess bodily movement, and as well as an increase of pulse rate and heart rate.
And so this is a picture of a patient during non-REM where you can see it's least active in their deep sleep. And this is a picture of REM where you can see all the red spots where they're still awake and active.
So patients with narcolepsy actually experience REM during all intervals of sleep rather than just at the beginning of their sleep cycle. And this means that they're not actually achieving a deep sleep. They're constantly awake throughout the night and through the day.
And so this is a picture of a patient with cataplexy, and you can see the activity in their brain is very active, even during sleep.
So the causes of narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is strongly linked to a certain class 2 HLA antigens, which is indicating that the presence of a narcolepsy susceptibility gene is located on chromosome 6.
Okay, and this is chromosome 6, the structure, and then the structure of the class HLA regions, and you can see that class 2 is located right here.
So HLA is also known as the human leukocyte antigen. The HLA is not just a single antigen, it's actually rather a group of proteins that are located on the surface of white blood cells.
Okay, and this is a human cell, and this is the structure of the FLA antigen, and you can see the peptides and the antigens.
So the HLA proteins, they have a pivotal role in the body's immune response to foreign material.
And this is a diagram of the FLA protein reacting to foreign material, and you can see that it gets the foreign cell and it digests it, producing proteins, and these are the peptides displayed by the FLA proteins.
So these antigens actually attack the hypocretin that's produced by the brain cells, and it typically mistakes it for foreign material. Hypocretin is a protein that helps control sleep pattern, and since the antigens actually attack the hypocretin, there's low levels of the antigens in the brain.
So this is a diagram of a patient with narcolepsy and how the antigens attack the hypocretin, which causes low levels in the brain, making it hard for them to control their sleep cycle.
Although almost all patients with narcolepsy carry the certain class 2 HLA antigens, approximately 10% of the general population actually carries it.
And this is a diagram of the HLA antigen informality, and how it looks on a narcolepsy patient.
So this can suggest that the haplotype is neither necessary nor sufficient for the development of narcolepsy within people.
And this is a picture of the structure of the FLA antigen class 2.
Therefore, genes other than HLA are also expected to contribute to the disease, and narcolepsy is also considered to be a multifactorial disorder, which means that there's multiple reasons that you could have narcolepsy.
And this is a diagram of the chromosome 6 gene and the region that the FLA antigens are located. And this is the class 2.
So developing narcolepsy involves multiple genetic and environmental factors, which also means that there's not really an exact cause for narcolepsy.
And so this is the brain and the chemical reactions that occur in a narcolepsy patient. And you can see that the pathogens go throughout the brain and produce it where the neurons cannot sleep, or cause the patient not to be able to sleep.
So who is actually affected by narcolepsy? Narcolepsy typically appears without a sexual difference, meaning that females versus males, nobody is affected more than the other. So it's also in early adulthood is when you could be affected by it, and it also affects less than 1% of the population.
And here are diagrams of healthy sleepers, and this is one of a narcolepsy patient. And so as you can see, the healthy patient experiences way less REM sleep with a patient with narcolepsy, and you can see that this occurs all throughout the night, not just a certain portion.
So most cases are actually sporadic, but the risk of the disorder for the first degree relatives of patients with narcolepsy is about 1 to 2% and about 10 times greater than the general risk of developing narcolepsy.
So this means that a patient is more likely, or a person is more likely to get narcolepsy if it runs in their family.
So the history of narcolepsy, the first convincing descriptions of narcolepsy, cataplexy, were reported in Germany by Dr. Westphal in 1877, and then later on it was also acknowledged by Dr. Fisher in 1878.
And this is a picture of Dr. Westphal in the 1800s.
In both cases, hereditary factors were noted, with that being the mother of Dr. Westphal's patient and one sister of Dr. Fisher's patient presenting narcolepsy symptoms.
So this means that both of them recognize that this was a genetic disorder and runs in the family.
So the unique association of episodes of muscle weakness triggered by excitement and sleepiness were described in both of the reports of narcolepsy symptoms.
So both reported the cataplexy in the narcolepsy patients, and this is what a picture of how it would feel like for the muscle weakness in a patient.
So much of the research for narcolepsy was done at Stanford University, which started with Dr. William Dement and Dr. Christian Guilleminault in the 1970s.
And so this is a logo of the Stanford University, which was created in 1891.
So in 1970, Dr. Dement established the first sleep disorders clinic in San Francisco for a narcolepsy study, and also in 1973, he first observed narcolepsy within dogs and established a research colony for animals, specifically with canine narcolepsy.
And so this is a picture of Dr. Dement, and you can see him in his later life.
So these efforts eventually led to the first documented genetic transmission of the disorder. And this breakthrough quickly led to the isolation of potential genetic cause for narcolepsy. And with that became an avenue of research that scientists are currently still exploring to this day.
And so this is a picture of the doctor with a dog from one of his studies for the trial of narcolepsy.
So Dr. Guilleminot helped expand Stanford's sleep clinic into a full-service center, which is now known as Stanford Sleep Medicine Center.
Okay, and this is a picture of the doctor, a recent one, and he recently died in 2019, so he was still alive today.
Dr. Guilleminot was also a prolific researcher who co-authored more than 800 journal articles on narcolepsy, and also was included on other sleep-related topics.
Okay, and this is a picture of a textbook he wrote over sleep disorders for the University of Stanford.
So the treatments of narcolepsy, treatments help control symptoms and can help prevent attacks, but there's actually not a known cure for narcolepsy, as it's an ongoing disorder that you kind of carry throughout your life. Medication that could help patients with narcolepsy include things like stimulants and serotonin reuptake inhibitors to help with the dopamine and things like that are produced throughout your brain. So stimulants, like I mentioned, is one of the most common group of medications that are prescribed to people with narcolepsy. Stimulants that provoke the central nervous system are to help individuals remain awake during the daytime, just because narcolepsy causes you to get sleepy throughout your day. You can get sleepy easily, so stimulants help prevent that.
And so this is a picture of a patient that has taken the stimulants, which produce dopamine to help them fall
Another
asleep.
group of medications that's usually prescribed for narcoleptic patients are serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which this group of medications actually can suppress the REM sleep to help ease the indications of cataplexy, hallucinations, and sleep paralysis.
Okay, and this is a diagram of a patient that has taken the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and you can see how it is affecting the neurons. Okay, and these are our references. Okay, thank you for watching.